Welcome back. As the election gets closer, emotions for some are running high, and it's likely people are bringing those feelings to work with them. According to the Society for Human Resource Management Politics at Work study, 26% of workers engage in political conversations with their colleagues. And the study also noted half of its respondents admitted they had got into a disagreement with a coworker over politics. So rather than letting things escalate or even worse, losing a job, we are looking at ways to maintain a positive workplace during a tense election season.
Dr. George Vergolias joins us now. He's the Chief Clinical Officer at R3 Continuum. Dr. Vergolias, thank you so much for being here. You specialize in workplace resilience, well-being, workplace violence, and threat management. What are some of the issues you've witnessed or experienced when it comes to politics in the workplace?
Yeah, welcome. Great to be here, Chris. Thank you so much. We do see a lot of things that emerge around perception often is worse than actual reality in terms of assuming that people are more divided than they really are. And so what we often see is assumptions about people that are on the other party or on the other side of the aisle, and certain assumptions about their values, the lack of connectedness or the lack of similarities. We see that emerge a lot, and that's part of what we do when we come in and do facilitated discussions and help navigate through those differences.
So in your strategies for diffusing a politically charged workplace, you mentioned fostering an environment of curiosity, but also setting limits. Can you explain this further, as well as some other strategies you recommend for companies during major events such as the presidential election?
Absolutely, absolutely. So what we see a lot, certainly in the workforce today, and particularly with younger workers, is they want to kind of bring their full authentic self to the workforce. And that's understandable. But it's important to set appropriate limits when we're navigating that from an HR or a management perspective. We want people to feel heard and understood, and yet we have to get on with the business of doing the business of the work. And so what we recommend often is agreeing to disagree, fostering curiosity at the leadership level. Curiosity is just a meaning of, I may have different views than you, but I'm curious what your viewpoints are. And I want to help you feel heard and understood. And I can do that by asking some inquisitive questions to try to understand your perspective better. Another technique is we talk about arguing the argument. And so what we mean there, Chris, is instead of me saying to you, here's why you're wrong, if I'm having a debate with you, because that brings your ego in, it gets you on the defensive. What instead I will say is, here's the issue I have with that argument, or here's the issue I have with that perspective. And now we're arguing about the merits of the argument itself. We're not arguing about whether you or I are right or wrong. And it diffuses the notion that the argument has to be won. Because productive arguments are not about winning. Productive arguments are about unpacking or unraveling a problem to be solved by fostering better understanding.
And these strategies...
So those are some of the techniques that we would recommend when we... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say these strategies are so important, especially because a Gartner survey found 1 in 4 organizations don't provide the tools or training that employees actually need to help manage workplace tensions. So what are some of the implications of not having resources like these in place?
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some significant ones. The first and the biggest is an erosion of trust in the workplace. And the difficulty is once you see trust begin to erode, you see disengagement. You see a breakdown in teamwork, and then you start seeing people being less likely to take risks. And when people are not taking risks, you see a decrease in innovation and creativity. And those are death knells for a business. Eventually, over time, as that toxic environment continues, you will see presenteeism, absenteeism, you will see talent start leaving the organization, and eventually, through reputational problems, you will see difficulty bringing in new talent over time.
We all have those coworkers who love to post their opinions on social media, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. How much has social media changed the conversation and spilled over into the workplace?
It has been a huge impact, and we've seen it gradually increasing across each election cycle going back 10 years now. The difficulty, of course, is that it's far too easy for someone to become a keyboard warrior and voice their opinions there. And then what happens is when that is filtered back into the workplace, because someone brings that in on their own, or someone sees a post by a fellow coworker, now we have to confront that in real time. And often people don't necessarily have the emotional skill set to do that in a amicable way. And so that's how it can become volatile rather quickly, or it creates kind of a seething hostility at the workplace.
Dr. George Vergolias with R3 Continuum. Doctor, thanks so much for your time and insight this afternoon. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Chris.